Hi guys, welcome back to this podcast named This Week's Reads. I'm your host, Shao. I have my two guests from CSUN. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name's Chase.
Hi, I'm Shelby.
Hi, we're gonna start reviewing this book called The Faraway Brothers, which they have read here in CSUN. It's this year's freshman picks, I assume?
Yeah.
And we're gonna go more in depth about the gangs and the violence in El Salvador. Did you guys hear about like the gangs and the killings? Like that's like the big reason why like people are flooding the U.S. It's not because it's like for the better future.
Yeah.
Because
I've heard that the gangs are mainly running it down there, and I got this from this one article I was researching about, where it says the gangs are not just a standing danger to public safety, but they're also a de facto authority that exerts tremendous control over residents' daily lives.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I thought, like, people that were getting killed were mostly the civilians, but it turns out the deaths of the gang members are also, like, at a very high number.
Because they're having gang wars with
Yeah.
MS-13 and...
Barrio 18. Yeah, those are the two main gangs in El Salvador, and they're really dangerous.
Yeah, I even heard that they were, like, operating from prison. Like, they were giving out orders.
Yeah, they make calls to the prison and everything, and they still manage to commit a lot of crime and violence and, like, just so many different things through just even prison phone calls. So
That's
it's, like,
crazy.
it's like a big conference call, but with prisoners.
It's, like, such a mastermind. Like, how are they still operating from, like, prison? Like...
Yeah.
You know, you're, like, in there, but you still have access, and you still have, like, the people who are below you, who are working for you, and they're still loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would have thought, like, something would have, like, you know, messed up, like, in the plan or something.
Yeah.
I was reading now that the Salvadorian government is communicating with the gangs for them to come to a truce, though.
I heard about that, too, but didn't
too.
they break it off or something?
Yeah, I think recently they
Yeah.
started the war back up between the two.
Yeah, the truce didn't last very long, and they broke it, right? Like, they still fought during the truce.
Yeah. Well, I also read that a lot of females get hurt a lot too, because all the gangs and everyone they rape the women, and like if they don't get what they want, then they kill them. And so like that's another reason why they're very dangerous. They just go after women and they treat them as objects.
Yeah, it's very dark. I read about this story where, like, the girl's family member, like, the dad couldn't pay up, like, the sum because they had, like, the sales tax for protection from the gangs, and he didn't pay it up, so he got shot and he got killed, right?
Yeah.
But you'd think that would stop there, but then it didn't, and the gang still went after the family members. The mom escaped to the U.S., but the daughter was still there. She was still in danger.
Yeah.
The gangs will do anything they want to get revenge for anything that happens.
Like, the power and the authority. You'd think the police would have something to do with this, but they don't.
They can't.
They know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the gangs pay off police too. They pay off a lot of authorities to keep quiet, and just it's a lot. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think the longer it goes on, the third generation, or the more people that keep going down in the gang. I read that third generation gang members become more political and they become less violent, so they'll at least be fighting for something and not just for territory or respect.
Well, I have a question for you guys. Do you think they will ever be able to solve this problem, like, between the gangs?
I think it would take a lot of government involvement to maybe slow it down, but I think the gangs will always be there because it was probably such a deep root in Salvadorians' culture that it would be hard to break it up.
Yeah.
Do you think
Completely.
like the police will ever come back from this? Like, will they ever gain their authority? Will they have power, or will they just be stepped all over?
I don't know, because it's just I don't know.
Yeah, it's very difficult. This like you said, like, it goes back in history. It's so deep.
Yeah,
it's
it goes back a long
heavy,
time,
like,
which is why it probably wouldn't be stopped all the way. It could only be slowed down and maybe reduced a little bit, but I don't know if it could ever be like fully stopped.
And then we also don't see, like, other people coming in and, like, trying to help the situation. All you just see is, like, gangs, like, pollute like all over the streets and
People
stuff.
are scared. They
Yeah.
don't want to get involved because if they do, they know it's pretty much a death sentence.
All right, guys, this is the end of our podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, hope you guys tune in next week for our next guest.